All right, better late than never, but we finally make our way onto the internet webs. Myself, Nick here, the host. You're probably hearing my voice in the background playing some music. Before we intro our guest, I think you've seen him before already. You know who he is and what he's about. But as I make my way on screen here, a little bit impromptu, a little bit delayed, a little bit late, but nevertheless, we are here. That's the main thing. And going to talk about something that a lot of us have issues with, but very few will actually want to talk about and maybe put forward for fear of embarrassment, shame, and things like that. So whether you're watching this live or in the future, whoever you may be, thank you for watching, and I'll bring him on screen right now. He needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyways. His name is Neil Cummins, goes by the Muscle, former bodyguard of John Ibrahim, doorman of Mania Club in King's Cross and George Street. Bring him on screen right now. There he is, the big man himself, Mr. Neil Cummins. What's happening, buddy?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing all right, mate. Doing good. It's a bit of a laggy stream, so we'll try and get through it. There is a bit of a storm happening at the moment. I mean, the best things are trying to just stop us from chit-chatting. We might be onto something here, so we'll try and get through it with as least fuss as possible. But we are here to discuss something that is that happens to the best of us. But before we get into that, give us a little bit of the update of your season 2 of Secrets of the Underworld. How's that been going?
Yeah, like the response I've been getting from season 2 from everybody is that they actually think it's better than this one. And I wanted to be different. Like my podcast compared to other crime podcasts, I'm trying to make it just a little bit out there, better, more real, more authentic. And I like it all from the underworld, all from the circle of friends I've known over the past, and their stories and my stories mixed in with them. So I'm actually there's a few more like yours coming up. Actually, yours Charlie's comes out on Tuesday. So
very good.
Over to that the DCNs. So
I can't wait to hear what I said then. All good. We try and make do with the quality is still. I'm very particular with the quality of sound. It's just very choppy. Hopefully this storm doesn't derail it too much, but we'll try and get through it. But yeah, so Charlie and I's comes out on Tuesday, so that'll be a bit of a laugh. You'll hear Charlie's introduction to DJing and certain lollies that make you dance and other things in between. So that'll be a bit of a fun listen. But what we will talk about, I basically put out a post the other day. I just had a lot of shit on my mind. I'm like, everyone always says to me, like, you got to get more into it. Like, yeah, your music's good. Yeah, we love when you DJ. But I never felt confident in myself. I never felt like I belonged there. I always had doubts. I always thought to myself, am I doing this right? What am I doing? You're an absolute dickhead. Why are you here? And I started looking up, researching some bits, and apparently it was something called Imposter Syndrome, where even though you've got the skills, you've got the know-how, you've got the experience, you still doubt yourself. Like, you don't believe you are as good as what other people say you are. And you, surprisingly, you messaged me as well, and you said, you know what, I suffer from the same thing, and I just don't see how someone like you would suffer from that. So tell me, like, what is it for you that makes you doubt your skills? Like, is it when you're working doors? Is it when you're bodyguarding somebody? Is it something that you have to try and basically just, keeping up appearances in a way?
I did the doors on the first start doing the doors. Like, I've never looked at myself as being big, like yourself and everyone else says, big Neil, look at the sassy. I don't see myself as that. So I don't see myself as intimidating. I just see myself as Neil Cummins. Yeah, I'm one of the boys and that. So when it came, I'm pretty this right. I know I can throw him. I got no problem with that. It's the fact of when I'm standing on the door, I'm second guessing myself if I'm good enough to be on that door. You know what I mean? I see the other doorman there, and you've got your other doorman who are the big guys, and they big name themselves, or they talk it up. I never used to talk it up. Even when I was with John, I never talked it up. I'm the quiet one who said boo, but I just watched everybody. And everyone used to talk about how they're. So me, myself, would turn around and go, should I be here? Am I good enough to be here? I'm the doorman, but this guy next to me shot somebody. This guy next to me here, he's fucking being in jail. This guy here is a fucking well-known bikie. And I'm just a fucking doorman who just made it up the ladder, and John fucking told me to be fucking his bodyguard. You know what I mean? And this is what I would question myself for. And, you know, then I felt like there was a couple of times when a few incidents happened. And you know what? Instead of letting them take over, I made sure that I took over. It was like I needed to reassure myself that I should be in this circle. So, yeah, it was... I still guess myself. I still second guess myself now today. You know, it may be fucking my body issue, or am I big enough, or should I be doing TV work? You know, it was only just a TV show that I did not long ago with Southern Stapleton. I questioned myself that. You know what I mean? Like, they wanted a big guy in there, and I said, listen, I think you need someone bigger than me. And you know what I mean? I didn't feel like so I have bad issues, but I just keep them to myself. I don't actually talk about them to nobody. And I mean, when I don't talk about them, I keep them to myself, and I come into my gym, or I go outside and go for a walk with my dogs, and I talk to myself to reassure myself that, yeah, I am good enough to be what I'm doing. I am good enough of what I used to do, or whatever it is that the problem is.
That's funny, man, because I try and not convince myself, but I try and say to myself, no, you know what, you've worked hard as well. Like, I think I've pinpointed why I am the way I am. Like, I'll go out, like if tonight, for example, like we're recording this at 10 past 4 on Saturday afternoon. I'll be in Wollongong in a few hours time playing to 100 plus people at Rendezvous with Charlie Brown, and they'll be there rocking out. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, why are they dancing to the music I'm playing? Like, why are they paying attention to me up there? Like, I look at Charlie and I say, like, this is the guy you should be, like, you know, clapping your hands to and shit like that. Not me. Like, in my head, I'm still a nobody. So every time I play in front of a crowd, I always doubt myself. Or you'll see me playing and I'll move my, you know, to the beats and stuff, but I'm not paying attention to the crowd because that social anxiety I get just shatters me internally. And I think for me, it comes from the young age where when I was 18 playing in clubs, you know, skinny, scrawny, like 50 kilo dude, and he's like playing in like some amongst like big boys, like, you know what it was like with some of the people that went inside DCM, if you let them in, of course. Big boys, solid, 6 foot tall, whatever. And it's like this little short dude, skinny, he's gonna come in and play music. Like, they're not gonna pay attention to this little kid behind the decks. Like, no one gives a shit about him. And in the back of my head, that's still me. But over time, I've seen that people have recognized my music, they like my DJ and everything else in between. But even then, still, they'll tell me 1,000 times over. In the back of my head, I'm still not convinced that I can actually be there to do that. So you said like you're dealing with like, you know, former bikies and stuff, and you're just a dude who just happened to climb the ranks, and maybe that was me at the same time. But how do you go about, like you say, you talk to yourself to convince yourself, but do you ever go out and say to someone like, am I doing something right? Like, is this what I should be doing? Did you ever, like, not console, but speak to one of your colleagues and just, you know, question, you know, what it is that you should be doing?
I would never bring it up to anyone who I worked on the door with, or there was two mates who I would talk to a lot, but they thought I was a dickhead for thinking like that. You know what I mean? They turned around and said, "You fucking idiot." You know what I mean? But I would never ever go to somebody in my circle of that caliber and say, "Should I be here?" No way. I knew deep down I should be there because I know what I've done in the past. You know what, at DCMs, you know, I know I was on that door by myself, but when you're asked to be someone's bodyguard at such a high status as him, you question, why me? Did he actually mean me? Is he sure that it was Neil that he wanted, not the fucking Islander that I had on the door by me? He was bigger than me. You know what I mean? That's what I used to think. You know what I mean? And then sometimes John used to say, you know, like sometimes I used to back off and let all the, whatever you want to call them, the hangers on, the wannabes, whatever they want to be, who walked with John, be with John. And then I used to walk at the But Johnson said, "Are you walking me or something?" I used to think, "Oh, I don't know if you want me to. Do you want me to walk back by your side?" I always question myself. You know what I mean? And I think that goes back to me when I used to play soccer too. Because when I used to play soccer, I questioned myself: "Am I good enough? Am I good enough? Am I good enough?" And I knew I was good enough, but I just sometimes was intimidated because when you're a kid and you have a growth spurt and you're bigger than everybody else, and then all of a sudden these kids that you were bigger than for 2 or 3 years, have done a growth caught up to you, you go, oh shit, where the fuck did you come from? You know what I mean? And then you kind of get intimidated by, this kid's fucking bigger than me now. I was fucking running rings. So then that came the intimidation with me with soccer. You know what I mean? And then not just that, when you get to a teenage year, then the bullying starts. So the bullying starts with kids from teenagers, and then you get the ones who want to have little fights and this and that. I was never a fighter when I was a kid. Yeah, I done some little fight, but I never used to go around fighting or trying to be a hard knock. But I used to get intimidated by the hard knocks sometimes because they played soccer with me. So then I go, oh shit, I can't tackle him, because if I tackle him, you're gonna fucking knock my head off after the game. So I used to back off. You know what I mean? So that kind of thing intimidated me. It carried on through the years and years. But then, as I said, when I came over here, I had no mates, so I had to fucking deal with shit myself. But I have body issues too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I've ever told anyone, but I think I have. But I used to, when I had my skinny days working on the doors, I never used to want to go to work. I'd call in, maybe I can't come in. And I wasn't ill. I just was having body issues. So I'd say, I can't come in today. I'm fucking not feeling too good, but I was fine. For me to deal with that, if it was summer, and don't know if anyone noticed that, I would have a fucking big jumper on, and it would be summertime. And the fact is, because I had a body issue, because I thought if I go to work today with a t-shirt on and I'm feeling skinny, I'm gonna people are gonna laugh at me and go, "What's happened to you, Neil?" So I used to wear it was 25, 30 degrees on a summer's night down on Oxford Street. That was a fucking big problem for me. You know what I mean? And I used to think in my head, sometimes if I have 10 bottles of water, maybe I can fix this. And I have a lot of water retention. And fucking drank 10 bottles of water in probably the space of 2 hours.
But
you know what I mean? It was a lot of things going through my head.
Was that like a body image for you? Like, was that like, I'm not big enough for this role, therefore no one's going to believe that I should be involved in this? Is that what you think it was?
Yeah, massively. I used to think I shouldn't be on this door. Like, my God, look at the size of me. I look at my hands, I'm fucking skinny here. I can't be on the door. So I go for a walk and let someone else take over the door. You know what I mean? I had bad anxiety on the door sometimes. But then, sometimes I'd fix it and it wouldn't happen for a couple of months. But when it did, it took a long time for me to get it, off my head.
Yeah, right. That's wild there, because you never actually do think that could actually be a thing. You always say to yourself, like, I know what role I'm here for, I know what I'm here to do, and then all of a sudden you think to yourself, actually, am I really, like I said, like, am I really meant to be here? But it doesn't matter what the size of the person is. Like, for me, I've always been brought up in that way to, like, if you're going to a venue, whatever, if the dude's smaller than you, or skinnier, whatever, still, that's their job. If they say no, then it's a no. If they say you do this, then you follow suit that way. I never would ever come across any doorman or any security guard and think, what are they going to do to me? You know what I mean? But that's probably a different mindset, different attitude to some party goers. But for you, it was massive. And like you said, like you just said, I'm not going into work today because I'm not feeling big enough to do the job. That's a task. So you're doubting yourself in a similar sense to me, where I think I'm not good enough to play the music that I play or to perform the way I play. It was the same thing for you. So, but like you said, when you come here, there's no mates, there's none of that stuff. You're there to do a job, you're doing the job. So how did you then just get past it, shall we say? How did you like leap forward and say, you know what, fuck that shit, and just, be on your way?
It took I had to get my mind off it. Sometimes I'd go looking to, I thought something had started. If something started during the night, it would get my mind off it. If it didn't, then I'd have to wear a jacket. Mostly, if you knew of me and I had long sleeve shirt on or anything that was long sleeve, when I was at my most comfortable. If I had the short sleeve on, I would think my biceps were too small, my arms were too skinny, and I'd be just going, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? And I swear to God, I remember one night in the VIP lounge in Trademark, and I remember this well. Fucking Ahmed Elrich turned up, and he goes, bro, aren't you fucking hot? It's 30 degrees summers, and I had a jumper jacket on, and I'm going, yeah, I'm all right, bro. I'm all right. And he's going, fuck, you don't look all right, man. And I go, not really. And I told him straight, bro, I'm fucking having a skinny day. And he just told me, take your fucking jacket off and your fucking jumper, will you? And I took it off. And because he was giving me that reassurance, I actually felt it. You know what I mean? But until then, my whole sense of everything for that night was like, I cannot take this off because I'm having a skinny day. And I just didn't want to take it off. And because I've got this, everyone's got this big Neil, fucking hell, look at the size of him. And I was thinking, if I take this chapter, everyone's going to go to me, what the fuck, Neil? You know what I mean? Like, he's lost weight. And that was the biggest thing for me, because I'm there to look intimidating. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not about the biggest man being the most dangerous, but I'm there for a job for me is to make people feel intimidated. I mean, without throwing a punch. And to me, if I'm not looking intimidating, then I might as well not be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
No, that makes sense.
I've still got it. As I said, I've got this today. I still go to the gym now, and people know that if I go to the gym, like now, I might be having this on now because I fucking just done a workout. You know what I mean? And but if I'm going to work out because I'm all hot, my body's all hot, I'd have a fucking jumper on, bro. Like I've still got body issues, mad body issues, and I can't get over that, and I'll never get over it. You know what I mean? My mates tell me to shut the fuck up.
Did they come from your days of the doorman, like trying to be as big as possible, and that's still plaguing in the back of your head, or is that something that's come in recent years?
No, this has come in recent years, and I think this has all come from mainly now. It's come from me doing a lot of bodybuilding. Of the way you've got to get yourself ready and prepared. But up until I started that working on the doors, it was mostly the fact of when you get that, as I said, when you get that persona of saying fucking Big Neil, Big Neil, Big Neil, it's like fuck, I've got to keep that persona up. You know what I mean? It's like now, like my mate turns around to me and goes, Neil, fucking calm down, go to the gym, mate. There's no need to go to the gym 6 days a week, man. You're not doing the doors anymore. I said, but I feel like I need to keep that persona up because of my image. You know what I mean? And because of my podcast, because I'm doing live shows. If I turn up at a live show and I look how skinny Neil is. He doesn't look like a fucking bodyguard. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
no.
Yeah. But
it's wild. Man. Yeah, it's wild how our minds plague on us.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I go for walks with you. I go for a massive walk when I got this head fuck. Like I walk for about 3 hours and I just try and talk to myself to turn myself around to say, what the fuck am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be like this.
It's wild, man, because I had a lot of people reach out to me when I put my post out there saying like, yeah, nah, I know exactly how you feel. I have doubts at work. I'll smash through projects. I'll have all the accolades, and I'm still thinking like I'm not good enough because I think they linked it down to like 4 different types of tendencies towards it. There's like the dude who wants to go solo, and if they screw up, then they're an absolute screw up. There's those who want to try and what was the other one? There was another one who tried to deal with shit from their past, like they've always been up high in like high school or something like that, and then they get to the real world and then they're struggling and they're not as good as what they were told they were. I think that's probably the worst thing, being told that you are so good at a young age, and then that ego just skyrockets. So when you do fuck up, or when you are shit and not as good as you think you are, that's probably working against you. Whereas those who are decent at what they do or good at what they do, they're the ones with so much doubt in them that they sort of like price themselves out of stepping forward and becoming something else. So like you, for example, if you think you're not big enough to be, the bodybuilder number 2 in an extra, for example, then you're going to have to go through the hard yards so you can put the extra effort in there. And then in the back of your head, you're thinking to yourself, I'm still not big enough. I'm still not big enough. So that's the body image for you is like the crowd interaction for me. Like I'll interact with the crowd, but I'm thinking they're not going to interact back with you. They don't care about you. Like you're nobody to them. Like you don't exist. You know what I mean? That's the fucked up thing for me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because, but are you intimidated? Are you intimidated by any other DJ when you first started? When you had to play with them?
Yeah, 100%, man. When you're playing alongside like big hitters, like you're a nobody, and then you got like someone like a Steve S or a Mickey D, not to say intimidated, but like big names back then. So you got these guys coming through, and then later on, when you're playing alongside Alex K, Sunset Brothers, and they're telling you you're gonna open up the energy for the night at midnight, and then Alex is playing after you, or Sunset's playing at 12, and you're playing after them at 2 o'clock, and you're just like, oh shit, like I have to follow up from these guys, or I have to open for these guys. What am I going to play? How am I going to mix? Are they going to be impressed? Are the crowd going to go for it? But I've learned along the ways, like you don't mix to impress other DJs and make music. You do it for the crowd, for the punters. So there was a little bit of that, and that used to fucking shit me massively. Even till today now, when Charlie, for example, Charlie had a boat party last year at some point. I normally play the first energy set, he would play the second, and then someone else would play the third, and then the night's over, for example. He goes, I'm playing first, you're playing after me. Like, main set. I said, no. He goes, trust me, do it. I said, no, I can't do it. Like, I said to him, I said, no way. I said, I shouted. I said, no way, I'm not doing it. He goes, I can't. After you, not a chance. He goes, trust me, they'll be warmed up, you kick on. I'll tell you what, it's one of the best sets I've ever played. And the crowd response was good because he sort of like warmed me in a way, not blooded me in, but for that night specifically. But he'll tell you as well, like I'm still scared now. Like if he says like you're playing in after me, before me, whatever, I still get scared. I'm still nervous. I'm still that 18-year-old who is up there in front of 500 people in a club or however many jammed into like UN, for example, or Havana, thinking like, are these people actually paying attention to me? Like, am I good at what I'm doing here? Because then you start doubting yourself. Do I deserve to be up here? How did I get to the position where I'm in right now? Did I have to be friends with certain people? Did I have to do favors for certain people for music and all this other shit as well? So then you question like, did you get there from skill and merit, or did you get there because you knew people?
Yeah. Well, that's funny you said that because when I started to actually hit the media, when I was looking after John, I think that's when I felt a lot of pressure then because I was put down as John's bodyguard. You know what I mean? So when I was still with him and walking around, I felt that people were starting to judge me a lot more now. You know what I mean? Oh, so what's so good about you being John's bodyguard? You know what I mean? Like I know, and I remember some guys, I won't say who they were, but they came up and they started like being smart ass and saying things, and it's like, you know, well, how do I knock them out? Do I have to show them why? It's like don't because the way they questioned me, it's like I felt like I wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? I know what I can do, bro. I don't go, as I said, I don't go around big note myself. I never have. You know what I mean? Yeah, I walk around and you know, but with a presence and a purpose. But that's me. But I don't go around looking for shit. But the thing is, I feel like I got intimidated. I wouldn't say intimidated. No, that's the wrong word. I looked at people in a way, as I said, who were well known in that underworld scene, and I'm thinking, why am I here? Should I be here? Because I've not killed anybody. I've not been to jail. I'm not a fucking president of a bikie club, and I don't carry weapons. But you know, I'm his right hand. You know what I mean? Why am I here? And it always question. And then I remember once there was an incident, and I watched two of these people who were in our circle who I used to look at and go, fuck, you big cunt, bro. Like, fuck, I wouldn't want to mess with you. And then all of a sudden, shit kicked off, and nothing happened. I finished it, and I went, you know what I mean? What the fuck was? Why have I been playing with this fucking head for so long when these fucking two fuckwits couldn't finish these cunts off? So then I started going, stop questioning yourself. Stop questioning yourself, bro. You're here because I actually told you to be by your side. You know what I mean? Not because a third person did. He asked you. And it's like with you, like you've got there because the DJs, like you've worked it up yourself, but they want you to play with them because they know how good you are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's it's the same thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the thing. It's like I wouldn't be brought in just because I know someone. Like all these guys know so many people. Like in your line of work as well, doorman. Everyone knows a lot of other people that'll be happy to work on door or that do security and things like that. But can you trust them? Are they worthy? Are they going to do the job you ask for them? Are they going to back down at the slightest inkling of a little bit of pushback or some intimidation that comes through? And you know, with me, it's like, okay, you're skilled. You make some decent tunes. We want to. You've played among some of the best. You know what? We want you there because we like what you do for whatever reason, right? And that sort of goes into the whole notion of you're there because you are good enough. Like you said, like you doubt yourself. I still doubt myself. Like when I see my name on a flyer somewhere and I'm like headlining or like main event or whatever, like tonight, for example, I look at them just like, you know what? This is pretty cool. But then still in the back of this thing on my shoulders here, I'm thinking to myself, like, how the fuck did you end up here? Like, why are you here? Like, how the hell do you end up like being like the special guest at this venue tonight? Like that's what still trips me up, man. That's one thing I still wasn't able to wrap my head around.
How low have you gone into that hole when you think about this? How deep have you gone? and you can't get out.
I don't know, man.
The other day, when I was messaging you and I was calling you, trying to get hold of you, and I'm thinking, fuck, this is not like you. Not like you. I mean, usually you're very quick to respond.
I don't want to cross. I don't want to cross. I don't want to be on your bad side, but let me put it that way.
But I'm thinking, what the fuck? This is not like Nick. You know what I mean? Like Nick's usually fucking straight onto a message back to me, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe he's busy. But then it went 1 day, 2 days, and I'm thinking, nah, this is not right. And then when you came back and responded, I went, fuck, this is not right, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why I opened up. But it's like, for me, when I've been deep, there's only 2 times I've been deep in this and I couldn't get myself out. And both times, I'll admit, and I don't like to talk because it's a cheap way out, but I've always thought of suicide because I cannot deal with it. You know what I mean? And it's everyone thinks, oh, get over it, Neil, it's all right. But when you get that, no one, until you experience it, and that you can't fix the problem, especially with my body. I get to the point where I stop eating. Then once I stop eating, then I look at myself and I just go, I cannot deal with this problem anymore. I cannot deal with it. I don't want to be fixing it. And then I've sat there, and the only person I've actually brought this up to is actually 2. One was the psychic who does the podcast with me.
Yep.
To ask, I just went to her to ask her things about it, and one was a good mate of mine, and I just said, "What am I thinking of suicide thoughts on how I can kill myself because of this situation?" You know what I mean? It was hard. I'm sitting there. Do I do the pipe to fucking car? Do I do the mountain top? Do I do the tablets to fucking knock myself out? I didn't know what to do. I actually thought of like putting a rope up, but I thought I'm too heavy, I'll snap it. So that's why I fucking didn't think of that. But you know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? So I didn't go with the tree on the rope bit because I thought I'd snap it.
Fair point. I mean, you're a pretty big boy, pretty big unit. But yeah, like it didn't get big. But that last week, since when I put that little post up there on the Instagram and that, like I did go like the whole week. Like I'd wake up feeling fine. I'd get to work. I'd do my thing, and then I'm just in a slump. I'm thinking to myself, do I want to even keep DJing? Do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to keep making music? And then you go on your SoundCloud and you see you got thousands of plays on this mix, 100,000 plays on this remix. I think to myself, well, clearly the stats indicate that there are people out there that want to listen to my stuff. They want to hear what I have to say. So that's sort of like, I don't know if cope's the right word, like I'm trying to rationalize why I should keep doing this and that I am good enough at what I do. And then you'll see, comments through other places. Like you said, you talk to yourself on walks to try and convince yourself, that you are good at what you do. Whereas I look at the stats and I say, well, clearly, like the proof is in the pudding. Like the numbers are there. People share my music. They do this, they do that. I met this one dude a couple of weeks ago in the city. A friend of mine was playing. I went down to say hi to him, and this one dude like virtually sprinted right up to me, and he said, "Bro, you're Nick Nova." I said, "Yeah." He goes, shook my hand. He goes, "Bro, you are the fucking best bloke. I listen to your music nonstop. You, Charlie, this, that. I listened to the Secrets of the Underworld podcast. It was fucking awesome. Like all that, like the one we did as well, and all this sort of shit." And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, if only more people, like, it's gonna sound wankery, like, not to be like, like, let me put it this way. I like being recognized for my work, but I hate being in the spotlight. I hate that. That is social anxiety for me. Like that's why I say, like, put me up in the deck somewhere in full view of everybody, and I like freeze at times. Whereas if I'm in a booth somewhere hidden away in a corner, I'll be happy to do my thing and let just the people on the dance floor enjoy themselves.
You're to me, you're the DJ next door. Okay, you know when you get the chick next door, and she's a nice looking chick, but she's the girl next door. Or you can get the ones who want to stand out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of me too. I'm just one of the boys, and that's it. You know what I mean? I'm the same with you with my podcast. You know what I mean? I didn't think that people would like my podcast. I thought there were going to be so much negativity about my fucking podcast, but I have not. I swear to God, I have not had one fucking bad vibe about it. And all I keep getting is fucking, please give me more, please give me more. And that's all, to me, that gives me fucking an incentive to keep like going what I want to do. And I'm telling you, out of everything that I have going, my podcast means a lot to me because when I get a message from someone like last night, I got a message from someone in America, Iceland, and fucking Macedonia, like fucking 3 countries that I wouldn't even think of, especially fucking Macedonia. Like, all right, fair enough. I've got a shitload down in Wollongong, but I didn't actually think they'd reach out from Macedonia, the country. But, that's good, bro. Like, it makes me feel good. You know what I mean? And that's why, all right, fair enough. I always think, oh, maybe I'm putting up too much shit on my podcast every time. Fucking stories, this, but I know if this is working, I'm going to keep doing it. I don't give a shit because this is what keeps me going and ticking. You know what I mean? And all the bad vibes that I have with my body issues or something else, I've got to deal with that. But this one gives me a bit of negativity, a bit of positivity, and I can go, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? I can keep going. So that's the one thing that is actually made me push myself more is the podcast.
It's an absolute beauty. Before we kick on, though, a couple of comments here. We've got one from Alexandra. It says, you're not alone. As a mental health nurse, so many people have this issue. It takes time to work on yourself, but you have to be positive. I think that was before regarding the body issue situation. Yeah. And Rossi T also says, this sort of mental health doesn't get spoken about enough. Well done, guys. Well, thank you for the comments. Because that's just it. Like, you wouldn't expect, I wouldn't expect someone like you to be talking about something like this, to be honest, because I look at you and the perception I get is jacked, big dude, well-known, respected, feed. So this guy's got nothing to worry about. But yet when you start talking, you start explaining what sort of, plagues your mind, for lack of a better term, you start realizing that, shit, Neil is like literally like everybody, like every Tom, Dick, and Harriet that you meet at any street corner cafe. They all have issues with their body. Are they good enough at what they do? Do they talk enough with their friends? Do they visit people enough and shit like that? And that's one thing I think a lot of people today don't maybe grasp the gravity. Yeah, that's the thing. And what I noticed was over the last couple of years with like lockdowns and shit like that, everyone's doing like what we're doing right now, talking over the phone, over the internet or whatever. But it's good to a certain point. But at the end of the day, human beings are social creatures. Like we can't do this nonstop. We have to interact with one another. That's why a lot of people suffer from mental issues when they're alone or if they don't see someone that they love or miss for a while. And like you said, it sort of like makes them think like, okay, well, if I don't have this, then why else would I keep going? Why else would I keep doing something? Like they don't want to live by themselves.
Can you imagine me, Nick, 10 years ago, going up to fucking someone like, even John or anyone in that circle saying, oh, bro, man, I'm having a bad day. I need to talk to someone. Body issues, I'm looking skinny. He'd fucking laugh in my face, bro. And he'd say,
no way.
Bro, and if I kept saying it to him, he'd say, fuck off. You know what I mean? And this is why no one speaks up. This is why and it's especially guys will not speak up because they think you'll look at them as a fucking pussy, a wuss, and like come on, like they'll look at you in a weird way, like, oh man, shut up, will you? Like you do my head in. And this is why I kept quiet for years to deal with it myself. And I'll tell you, when it got to the point where, and this I think I brought it up in my book too, and I brought it up on my podcast. Because I was feeling this body issue so badly, feeling skinny, I tried to fix it by doubling up or tripling up on steroids. Because I thought, well, if I'm skinny and these steroids aren't working, then I'm going to have another day, I'll have another jab tomorrow, and I'll have a jab tonight, and again. Or instead of taking 10 Dynabolts, I'll take 25. You know what I mean? And I'll fix the problem. That's it. That's how I'll fix it. You know what I mean? That's how I think. So I used to go to work, as I said, with them in my pocket, fix the problem. Because I'm having a skinny day. So 5 are in my pocket, and I'll have them all tonight. You know what I mean? I'll go home and I'll put on 10 kilos, and I'll be all fucking sweet and buff. And that's why I panic off for a year. You know what I mean? And I got it to tell him, like, I think I've got a problem here. But, I couldn't stick with it because I just thought, nah, fuck, I can't do this. I can't be talking it up. I'm not talking to you about my fucking problem.
But the other thing is as well, if you did want to speak to somebody, who would you even go to? Like now we have people we can talk to. Like, look, like the whole men do need to speak up about certain things. That there are some things that actually do plague them, and there are some things that are just people try and make a big deal out of nothing. Like I wouldn't talk to whoever about like relationship stuff, for example. I wouldn't be out in the public with that. Like that's a personal thing. Like this in a way is a personal thing as well, but where it's not like Nick Nova, the person in private. This is Nick Nova, the public figure, the DJ sort of thing. So people see me in that light. So I can't bullshit to them and say, well, everything's all good and fine when clearly they can see it's not. They're like, what's wrong? He always looks serious. He always looks cold. Like, it looks like he doesn't care. And that's just me trying to deal with the whole, embarrassment or the
exactly
fear. Yeah.
People say the same thing about me. Why don't you talk, Neil? But I'm always thinking, because I'm thinking what the room's thinking about me. So if I walk into a room and everyone's staring at me, I usually go, why are they all staring at me? And people usually go, well, because they know who you are, Neil, or look at the size of you. And I go, but I'm not big, bro. So I get, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Like, fucking hell, where's there a scale? Can I go and jump on a scale? Have I lost that much weight? It's like, it's bad, bro. It's really fucking bad. And the whole point, the worst point is social media. Social media is
don't get me started.
Because everyone's trying to be somebody because they can see what these people look like. And that is the biggest fucking thing on it.
And that's a very good point there, because like you'll see yourself, people that do bodybuilding and things like that, or that run security, you see it with other DJs and performers and actors, and everyone tries to one up the other person. It's like, look at my TikTok reel, or look at my Instagram post, and look at this nice little video that's been put together and shit like that. And people say to me, oh, what'd you do last night? Oh, I was working. Oh, where were you? I was, wherever, for example. Oh, I didn't see anything. I go, what do you mean? Oh, there was nothing posted online. So why should I post something online? Like, you might get a picture, you might not see something on the story.
When I first started on Instagram, and I remember a lot of people wouldn't talk to me because you started off, you only got a couple of hundred followers and all like that. As soon as my followers went up, it's funny how the same people I tried to communicate with didn't now want to communicate with me. It's like, so hold on a minute. You only want to communicate with me now because my followers gone up, my status has gone up. But at the start, you didn't have a clue who I was, but you didn't want to talk to me. Now you do. Yeah. It's like, this is what I mean. Social media is the biggest killer for mental health, totally.
Oh, man. The clout. The chase for clout is next level. Like, people won't, it's like, let me collab with you because you're a bigger person than them. Whereas some other people would be like, man, okay, if you're starting out, like, if you're good enough, let's go, let's give you a crack. Because imagine this now, 10 years ago, before Instagram was a thing or whatever. Like, good luck you trying to put yourself out there when back then, let me say, it was easier back then because even though there was still like plenty of DJs out there, other people trying to get into certain different industries, you sort of like still had to stand out in a way. Whereas now, because you can just promote yourself online, get a few 100,000 plays on a post or a mix or whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this person's had 50,000, let's put him on there. When they like, it sounds like a shit thing to say, but they haven't really learned the ropes. They haven't worked their way up the ranks. They haven't, figured out what it takes to actually be there. Like when I started playing, I was playing to nobody in clubs. I was the opening DJ, play from like 9 till 11, like for 2 hours to like 10 people. And then between 11 and 12, you get 300 people through the door. Everyone rocks up then. But I had to learn the hard way, which is why I sort of have a profound respect for other DJs who play in certain venues and are not well known, are sitting in a corner, but they're still doing their thing, because I understand what it's like to do that. In a similar sense with you, like with doormen who just sit there and assist the main person, for example, or they'll sit there and just pay attention to what's happening and sort of be like a 2IC or something like that. Like, you have to learn what you're doing. You can't just pick someone, you're a big bloke, work the door tonight, and it's like he doesn't know what to do. Like, the guy could have a brain snap and fuck something up in the long run. Like, that's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I got a message of a couple of people, and when I replied to them off my DMs, they actually replied back on, "Oh, I can't believe you replied, because not usually no one replies like in your status." And I go, "Well, why wouldn't I? Like, I don't understand. Why won't I reply to you? You're saying you like my podcast, or you're saying thank you for something else. Of course, I'm going to reply to you." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, but I didn't expect it because I've messaged a lot of other people, they don't reply, bro." Like. You know what I mean? This is the whole thing. Like, just because someone on TikTok's got fucking 2 million followers doesn't mean you're fucking better than me, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But that's how it gets now. That's the way it is. So people get intimidated. Like, it's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Nah. As I said, I've got a lot of issues I'm trying to fix. The body issue is one of them. My confidence is always good, though, Nick. I'll tell you that. My confidence is good in a way where I know what I can do. and in the fact of like, if you give me a task, I can do it. If I have to bodyguard someone, I know I do it. But it's it's mind over matter saying, why am I here? Why'd you pick me for? When you could have had him who looked after fucking, I don't know, Britney Spears, but I'm just fucking Neil Cummins. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't get it sometimes. I really don't. It's like when, as I said, with the TV show, why'd you pick me for? You're looking for a big guy. Well, the guy over there actually, who's just a back person, he's actually bigger than me. Why don't you pick him? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know. But then I look back 5 years later at photos of me and I go, oh, I was actually all right, wasn't I? I was actually okay there. Why was I making a big deal about it?
Don't know, man. Even like you look back now, you look back and think to yourself, hang on, I wasn't too bad back then. Why is it in my head? Why am I there? Yeah. But you know what? It could also be the fact that maybe you thought you'd be in a better position as well as opposed to where you are now, because maybe you didn't do something that maybe you should have 5 years ago, 10 years ago, for example.
No, what my problem is I didn't speak up. I just went with the motion, bro.
Oh, that's me. I never spoke up.
I was content. You know what I mean? I was content with what I was doing, bro. I wasn't there to make noise. I was there to do a job. And that's me. I think that was my biggest downside. I should have made noise.
No, that's me as well. I was the same. I was like, yep, no worries. Yes, cool, do your thing. And then, like, why is this person's been around 6 months? I've been around for like 6 years. How the hell did they, get to wherever they are? Like, fair play to them, but like, think to yourself, what did I do wrong? And again, we go full circle. It's like, what did I do wrong? Am I not good enough to do the job? Am I maybe thinking that I am not worthy of where I'm going? Do people maybe not see that there's something I can offer? And then you devalue yourself and you think, well, do I bother going with this? Why should I just quit tomorrow and just do something else and be the person that, gave it a crack for a while and then like whatever? Because now people think of you, they think, oh yeah, Neil Dorman knocked me back, or he was always good to me, got him a coffee or whatever. Oh yeah, he walked down with John Ibrahim and shit like that. Oh, there's Nick, yeah, he's like did some live streams. Oh, he's got some good remix and stuff like that. Oh, he's good for a laugh. And when people actually talk to me as well, which I probably need to sort of like be more out there with, when people actually approach me in clubs and whatever, I'm easy to talk to, bro. You know what? I can talk your ears off. But because I give that cold approach, that cold look, the look that he doesn't give a shit, like he probably thinks he's better than everyone else. It's not that. It's I'm doubting myself amongst everybody else.
I do the same. I got told off by my mate the other day. I walked out of a servo and this car's looking at me and staring at me, and he goes, bro, what are you staring at him for? I said, well, because he was fucking staring at me. And he goes, yeah, but maybe he's just looking at you because he goes, what a big dude you are. And I just went, well, fucking shouldn't be. It should be a different way, bro, because it looks like he's fucking staring at me to start a fight. I've been told I've got to calm down, man. Like, stop staring at people. Not everyone's fucking judging you in a bad way, bro.
A few people. No, that's true. There's a few people that sort of picked that out. They're like, you know what? You're actually not like what you portray yourself to be. I said, what do you mean? They said, when you're DJing, you're very serious. I'm like, well, yeah, behind the decks, I'm serious. I'm there to do a job. I'm not there to piss fart around. Like, I don't want you crowding around me. I don't want you with your phone in my face. I don't want you, grinding on me. None of that shit. I'm DJing. Please let me do my thing. My job is for you to be dancing and having a good time. If that's what if I'm doing that's my job done. But then they'll also
that's where the other DJs are totally the opposite.
Yes, exactly. Whereas others, they want to mingle, they want to get amongst the crowd, they want to have everyone around them. Whereas I get agitated with that. Just the thought of it just annoys me. If everyone's crowding over you like this, Snapchat, Instagram, fuck off, get away from me. That annoys me.
Yeah, exactly. It was the same with me when I used to finish work. I was like, I'm going home now. That's it. I'm done. I need to fucking, stop now, revive and all like that. But they used to carry on and keep going. And it's like, I don't need to do that shit, bro. I don't need that. Well, let's take photos. No, I'm not here to take photos. I'm here to do a job. You know what I mean? So it's, let's get all these people into the VIP. No, I don't want them in the VIP. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, I don't want them. They're like... Yeah. It's funny though, because now once people once they see what you're really like, you're easy to have a laugh. Like when we did the podcast with yourself and Charlie, we dropped in and did the thing there. The biggest laugh. Whereas if people just see you working the door, they're gonna think, one thing of you. That's it. If they only see one version of you, that's what you become. If they see you and you're always out partying and getting drunk, well, they're going to think you're some sort of alcoholic that's always loose. If you're someone that's uptight and serious, every time they see you, they're going to think you're uptight and serious. But there are different sides to different people, and sometimes it's not the simple fact that, well, they're just like this 24/7. It's there's a reason why they're like this, and it could be a defense mechanism, it could be some sort of cope, it could be a way to also mask some insecurities, like you, for example, like, I'm not feeling today, but fuck it, I have to put on the fucking tough guy thing, and I'm fucking straight back, and let's go, and you want to go? Come on, like, I'm ready to go. When deep inside, you really, like, you don't want any of that shit, but you have to put it on there so people don't get a sniff and sort of like, you know, come in and sort of like, yeah, nitpick at you. That's what it is for me. Because if people get like a little bit too comfortable, not in that sense, but I get agitated when I'm trying to do a job, as I said, and it's things are just not working. The conditions are wrong. You know, the vibe is wrong. The people, the crowd are just not feeling it. I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, did you ever have a night or a moment where you thought to yourself, like, why am I here? I don't need to be here for this particular job at all. Or was everything just, no, it's a job, get in the mindset and get it done?
No, I never felt like that. But if I was having a bad day, like say for instance DCMs, that's when everyone got the knockback. You know what I mean? If I was having a fucking shit day and I was having a shit night, and people were going to get the knockback, and I didn't care if you were like the week before you went and bought me a coffee, or the week before you came in, or you were a regular. I didn't give a fuck. You were getting the knockback because I wasn't in the mood for anything. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to laugh tonight. I wasn't going to talk to you tonight. I was like, fuck, all that's in my head is, I don't want to be here because I'm having a fucking skinny day. Don't fucking be here. I'm going to fucking say 50% of you aren't getting it, and I don't give a fucking talk. And that's how it was. And when I just didn't want to, I had moments like that probably I'd say in a month, probably every second week. I was like that. And I wasn't trying to be like piss anyone off. It was just that I was trying to deal with shit in my head. You know what I mean? And I had to go to work knowing that, one, I had to stay serious if John came down. Two, the seriousness of being on DCMs. No one actually realizes. They think that being at DCMs was, it was fucking have fun. It was a great night. You must have had the best time working it. The stress going through DCMs with me, I had Margaret on my back, John on my back. I had the doorman fucking doing jack shit sometimes up there. I had the people outside on my back. Dave Freeman, the promoters, fucking people trying to. It was like the coppers, like the raptor, like it was all on me. You know what I mean? And it was like, it was a fucking, it wasn't a shit job, but it was a lot of fucking stress that I didn't fucking want. You know what I mean? And then when I left that to go with John, then I got the stress of looking after John, his family, his family were out, all his clubs, walking around, looking after not just his clubs, his licensees, his managers, making sure money was all right, picking up money, going around, making sure people on the streets shouldn't be there, or fucking kicking people out by myself. It was a lot of fucking heck. And whenever I'm having a bad day and I'm skinny, like I'm thinking I'm skinny, it's like I don't want to walk around. Sometimes I go missing in the cross for an hour and sit at the fountain because I was that fucking going, I can't do this, bro. You know what I mean? I was just sitting there. I'm trying to get my confidence, not my confidence, but everything back into me to go, Neil, you're here for a purpose. You are here. Get yourself up and let's go for a walk. You know what I mean? And I'd go for a walk, but then I don't know what would trigger me to fucking say, I'd go from walking to the fountain going, I'm having a skinny day, and I could leave the fountain thinking, I've just put on 10 kilos. You know what I mean? And I'm rock and roll. You know what I mean? It was it was hard, bro. And I still can't get my head around it. And it's hard to explain to people the feeling that you've got in your head that you get. You know what I mean? Like you know, as I said, if if 5 guys came at me, I'm not going to hesitate. I know I've got to do. But walking around and then knowing that all eyes are on you and you're the man who's looking after everything for the Abraham Empire, it was so much fucking stress, bro. Thinking, why am I doing it? Look, like he's given the job to me. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Is he sure about this? You know what I mean? And then Friday bring me up, hang out. You know what I mean? Are you sure you want me to hang out? Like, I don't own a yacht. I don't own fucking a Lamborghini. You sure you won't be? You know what I mean? I question myself, bro.
Well, let me just say, if you ever hung around with me, I'd have no issues whatsoever. I'd probably be a bit of a smart ass myself if you're ready to give him a famous backhand. But you know what I mean? Like, there are those times where you sort of say to yourself, okay, maybe I do possess the skills and shit that I have that are needed for this job in particular. Like now, like I'm getting a buzz now, knowing that in like 4 hours time, I'm going to be playing to a crowd in Wollongong. But as soon as I get behind those decks, those nerves kick in. Like I always get nervous. There's never a gig where I'm not nervous. Even a private party, a live stream, like it doesn't matter what it is. Like there's nerves involved in everything, and that's the thing. Like if you know you can do the job, you shouldn't be nervous. Like there's nerves to have if you're about to perform in front of a crowd if you've never done it before. But I think the nerves for me performing in front of crowds is, as we go back full circle again, like, why am I here playing for them? Why are they here watching me? Like, what's good about me that attracts them to come and watch me? Am I good at what I do? Should I be here? Is my music going to keep them around? Maybe they like when I wear a beanie or the way I wear my hat or something. Like, I don't know, or they like my radio voice or some shit. Who knows what it is? People are attracted to different things in others, and I think for you, it could be that. Me personally, like. You're a laugh. You hold no holds barred. You'll say whatever the fuck you want. And look, to be fair, like who's gonna stop you effectively? You know what I mean? Again, one little backhand, like, bah, and they shut up. So in that sense, like I look at you and I think like this dude's again, he's got it switched on. Everything's working for him. Look at him. He's an absolute unit. He's got a gym in his house. He's TV and everything else, media and all this sort of shit. But then again, once the lights turn off, their head starts going again like, did I do this right? Should I have done this instead? Why didn't I, pursue this?
The thing is, everyone thinks what you're saying there about me, that, yeah, I've got this, I've got the gym, I've got the TV, I've got my podcast, I'm doing a lot of live shows. But at the end of the day, when I go into 4 walls and close my front door, who's to say that I'm the unhappiest person in the world?
Oh, yeah. I mean? I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that, yeah.
No, like I can come out, I can walk out my house and I can put that persona on where I shut everything off, and I try to shut everything off. But once I'm in my car or I come back to my house and I sit on that lounge, I could have the 1,000 problems I'm trying to fix and I don't know how to fix them, or I'm just having one of them when down depressing days that I don't know what to do. And as I said to you, I'm not saying I'm looking to, when I say this, I'm not looking to do anything to myself, but when I say I have thoughts of bad thoughts, I mean I have bad thoughts, and I don't just sit there and go, fuck, yeah, what would it be like to fucking kill yourself? It's like I think about the whole, from the start to the finish, of what it would like. So doing it to myself to the funeral, that's what goes through my head when I'm depressed. And it's like an image. I watch myself do it to myself to the finished product of a funeral. And I do it, and it goes through my head. And me to get out of that hole takes a couple of days, bro. If I'm a and
like I said,
I won't tablets. Yeah. I won't go to the doctor's for it.
Nah, so that's the thing. Like for me, like I had my week, and I thought to myself, "Am I really bothered for this? Am I cut out for it? Like, do I want to keep going? I've done enough already. Maybe I just leave it behind." But then there's always something that says to me, "No, no, keep going. There's something still out there for you." Like if you weren't good at what you were doing, you wouldn't be where you are right now. You know what I mean? Look at everyone else that's come and gone before you, that's coming through, that would love to be in your position as well. So you sort of reflect again. You think to yourself, actually, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad, but I'm not going to lie to you. Like you said, you summed it up perfectly just then. Like you can have whatever, persona or whatever's in front of the public sphere, but as soon as you're home and that front door closes, you don't know what people are going through. The celebrity, the I don't know who else we got here, like the internet personality, your favorite DJ, your favorite whatever. Like they all go through some shit. They've all got normal problems like every human being. I think. To sum this up, we're pushing the hour. We've got 5 or so minutes left. But to sum it up, when you said that social media thing, I don't think social media is the main factor for me with my doubts. But today, like you said earlier on, the social media thing does play a massive part because find me someone who puts their, well, unless you're specifically out there for drama online on like YouTube and shit like that, no one puts the worst of themselves online. Everyone only puts the best of themselves. So once that best of yourself is put online constantly, in your mind, then you sort of like convince yourself that, well, I might have a shit life, but everyone looks at me and how good I am, so that's my life now. Whatever is online, that's literally my life. But it's not. So you get into this false sense of security, this false sense of, I don't know, what you think your life is when it's not. And then that's when you constantly keep trying to, keep that facade going, the happy-go-lucky facade, everything's good and happy and blah, blah, blah. When behind closed doors, you might be struggling for rent, you might be having relationship issues, you might be having a shit go at work, you're on the verge of losing your job or whatever. So that in the sense, social media is just absolute ass for me. Like I hate that social media has become like the personification of our lives, whereas it should be like supplementary. It should be like a complement to your life, not your soul life. But everyone lives online these days, and that's where they get this notion that I'm better than the next person. Oh, nah, not that filter, this filter's better. And then when they meet someone in public, for example, it's like they don't look like their photos, or they don't have the Ferrari that they're posing with. They don't have the gold chains that they're wearing. They borrowed them or whatever.
When you meet me in person, you just go, "Fuck, you're not as big as what you look like on social media, Neil."
Mate, you are fucking taller. To be fair, I'm not the tallest bloke, but when I met you at the studio, I just went like, "Fuck, this guy's literally the fucking size of the door." Like the door frame height, everything. I just went, fuck. I thought Charlie was big. Mate, you got fucking levels on top of Charlie, man. I'll let me put it that way. Don't worry about him. But we've been pushing on for the hour mark. It's been good to have a chat. But as you said, we've got mine and Charlie's visit to the show, and that is the Secrets of the Underworld Season 2, now streaming on all platforms. And I heard you were going to be doing some live shows. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, that's towards November, December. We're doing Wollongong, Steelers Club, Reesby Workers, West Leeds, and a few in Campbelltown too. Yeah, so yeah.
Nice. I'll definitely buy a ticket to one of those, depending which one and where. But I'm definitely keen to just go out for a night and just hear stories. And that's the thing. It's people that will relate to the era that you were around, that I sort of like come into. That's where people are really going to resonate with it. If you've listened to the first season and even the second season now, like even though I wasn't around specifically, or I was the age for when these things happen, I listened to certain people's stories and I think to myself, oh yeah, I do remember that. Yes, I remember when that happened. Like, it just takes you back in time as well. But Charlie and mine, we're going to talk about our origins, how my first encounter with you, how I shit myself when I first saw you, thinking you're not going to let me in, but ended up being okay, and a whole bunch of other bits and pieces. So, it's a good laugh, and they can also follow you on Instagram at Neil_Cummins, and also the Secrets of the Underworld. Was it Underworld or Underground?
Underworld.
Underworld. Okay, cool. I always get them wrong. Secrets of the Underworld Instagram account as well. So for all the updates on there. But I enjoyed the chat. Like I said, people watching live, people watching in the future. Hopefully, this was a little bit insightful. Get into the mind of people that are in front of people in the public. In front of crowds. You're in front of crowds. You're dictating who's allowed in and out of clubs. I'm trying to dictate the tempo of the dance floor. So there is a lot that goes on in our minds, man. But any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Yeah, final thoughts is just watch me on the dance floor tonight when you're young. All right, I'll make sure that you feel like you're loved.
Mate, if you actually come down tonight, I will be performing like a jazz jackrabbit. I'll be jumping behind those decks if you're there tonight, mate.
Hey, just be careful how you judge me. I'm dancing with you. Right?
You probably threw lots of people out for their dance moves back in the day. You see someone dancing, it's like, I can't have this shit out.
The way I dance is when I used to kick people out of DC. But you can't kick me out.
Thankfully, there are no stairs going down here, but that's pretty much it. But thanks for coming, Neil. Thank you all for watching as well. If you're watching now or in the future, always appreciate it. Again, check it out. Secrets of the Underworld Season 2 on all streaming platforms. Check him out. at Neil_Cummins, and you can follow me on various social media platforms. Don't expect too much being posted, but just enough to keep the appearance going. So on that mark, I say goodbye to everybody, and have yourselves a lovely day or night or whenever you watch this.